CNET, Center County's Government and Educational Access Network.
Underwriting support for this program provided by the Center County Gazette. We cover what's important to you.
Two teams at the top of the Mountain League standings square off as the Bellefonte Red Raiders play host to the Huntingdon Bearcats, the undefeated Bearcats, on this senior night here in Bellefonte. Happy to have you with us on this Friday evening alongside David Saggio. My name is John Gross. David, let's break this down quickly. Undefeated Huntingdon, 18-0, 10-4 Bellefonte, a team still in the thick of things in the conference standings. On paper, what really separates these two teams?
Well, for starters, I'm looking at the score from their previous matchup, January 9th, where Huntingdon won by a score of 83-52 over Bellefonte. That, and we were talking about it during the warm-ups, it just seems that Huntingdon, has that edge with the athleticism and definitely on the shooting side, too. So I think that's going to be a big part of their success tonight.
And Huntingdon had a couple shots inside, mislaying from Jackson Ritchie into the starting lineups here for the Bearcats. Jackson Ritchie, Nick Gerhardt, Owen Lane, Will Selesky, and Nick Rigby. As the Red Raiders control, still scoreless here in the opening minute. Rocky underneath, starts the scoring off, 2-0 Bellefonte. It's senior night here for the Red Raiders. A senior-laden lineup. Nate Tice, Joey Maggs, Noah Badger, Bailey Decker, and Caleb Rocky, who got the scoring started. With that lane inside, Rocky missed the first matchup of the season between these two sides, and it's something that head coach Nick Payne pointed out when I spoke with him earlier this week, emphasizing the fact that while it was lopsided, Bellefonte were without one of their top players.
Yeah, definitely, John, as I think he's going to be a big part of their success tonight as well. He's a big guy. He's a real good presence down low for Bellefonte, and that'll help them tonight because Huntingdon is quite tall across the board. Multiple players, the 6'1" up to 6'5" range. So that height and that size that he brings to the table is going to be big for Bellefonte tonight.
Owen Lane just leveled up the scoring for the Bearcats. 18-0 in the season, 11-0 in conference play. And they forced a turnover. A Huntingdon program that they've seen plenty of success recently. Last year, 22-3 on the season. They won District 6 Class 4A. Also picked up a couple of victories in the PIAA state tournament. They've tasted that success as they look to finish strong. And they take their first lead of the game. Nick Gerhardt goes baseline.
Yeah, really good job by Gerhardt there on the drive. Getting up in the defenders and a good finish at the rim.
4-2 Bearcats leading. Huntingdon in their blue uniforms. Sponsored by Jordan, as we talked about in the pregame. It's pretty legit, a high school program.
Yeah, no, we were loving that in the pregame. Seeing a team like that with Jordan brand, Jumpman himself, number 23 on your jersey, that's pretty big.
Selesky finds Ritchie, no call. And Bellefonte pushes, trailing by 2. 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. And an offensive foul. Owen Lane able to set his feet and sends things the other way. And we'll see our first substitution of the game as Ben McCartney, normally a starter, checks in for senior Bailey Decker.
Yeah, McCarty shoots 45% from 3 this year, the best shooter on the floor tonight. So let's see if he can create some problems for Huntingdon from deep.
Bearcats looking to solve this 2-3 zone. First shot attempt of the game is true for Nick Rigby. Averages a team-high 24 points per outing. There's a few D3 looks. Coach Payne says he leads by example. Not just a high-profile scorer, but a great teammate as well. Chance to respond. And Joey Maggs knocks it down. 7-5 Huntingdon. 4:30 to go in the first.
Excellent response to the three-pointer by Maggs there. Normally 21% from deep, but wide open shot in the corner, anybody's going to hit those.
Close to the baseline, Selesky able to keep it in bounds, and it's taken away by McCartney. Up ahead, Nate Tice. Fancy finish, and we're level at 7. Second meeting of the season, as we touched on before. It was 83-52 back on January 9th. And a travel as Selesky didn't set his feet.
So far, this 2-3 zone that Bellefonte is coming out with is giving Huntingdon quite a bit of trouble. They've been trying to get the post entries going, break the zone, get the cutters moving, but give credit to Bellefonte. They've been very good so far.
Here's McCartney. Under 4 minutes to go. We're tied at 7. Entry feed. And the reverse lay-in from McCartney, too strong, but an offensive board. And Badger couldn't put it through. Getting harassed down the floor. Scoop shot just rims off by Gerhardt. Back and forth we go. Tyson open look. And the rebound to Ritchie. Wide open lane, 5 points. Just a few minutes in for Nick Rigby.
And we had to figure Rigby was going to get his points in tonight. 24 per game, like you said, John. Just a terrific score of the ball, but I found that interesting too, his coach saying he's a great leader for Huntingdon as well.
And Tice ties it back up on the lay-in. A couple of high caliber ball players here in Central PA. Tice averages 12.4 points a game. That leads all scorers on Bellefonte. As Rocky charged with the block. And the Red Raider fans not happy about that
I
call.
was just about to say they are not a fan of that one at all, but he did not have his feet set, so they're going to give that to Huntingdon.
Few changes as Andrew Miller heads on for a substitution of the game for Huntingdon. And John Meyer checks in for the Red Raiders in a corner 3. Well, they'll score that as a 2 by Rigby, so he has 7. Nick Fisher fresh off the bench as well. Entry feed. And now it's back to a 1-point game. So they did give Rigby the 3. That's what it looked like from here.
Yeah, it looked like he got just enough away from the line there, but Rigby already got it going here. 8 points for him now.
Just over 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. 12-11 Huntingdon, protecting an 18-0 record. And one. Nick Rigby. And we can tell right out of the gate, this kid is special.
Yeah, he is having himself a first quarter here. If he makes this free throw, that'll be 11 for him to start this game. I don't think he's missed a shot yet either.
No, he has 10 points by himself. Bellefonte is a team with 11. Isaiah Nadolski in for the Red Raiders as Badger heads to the sideline. A 6'3" senior sinks it. 11 points, just 6 minutes into the game for Nick Rigby, who averages 24 per game, so he's already ahead of his season average if this trend continues. Tice fires away. Hit one early, but has since missed his last 2. And Bellefonte forces a turnover. Running the floor, McCartney, double clutch and converts. Back down to a 2-point game.
Yeah, certainly a lot closer than we were thinking it would be when we were talking about it during the pregame, John. As mentioned, Huntingdon won this last matchup by a blowout fashion, so good to see that Bellefonte is standing tall here on senior night at home, making this one a game.
And Rigby, before he went up with a shot, stepped to the baseline. Going back to that January 9th game, 83-52 was the final. But since then, Bellefonte, something has clicked. They've rattled off 4 straight victories. And they now sit at 6-3 in league play.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that, too, was the fact that they finally got Joey Manx back from injury, as you were talking about. You know, he was out during that game that first game. To have him back is huge for Bellefonte. He's a big part of their team.
Under 1 minute to go and a 2-point advantage for Huntingdon. Now at this point of the quarter, 40 seconds, no shot clock. And no intent to hold for one shot. Selesky leads the charge. Corner triple, Gerhardt, nothing but net. 18-13, under 30 seconds to go in this first quarter. The full court pressure from Owen Lane knocks it out of bounds. Lane, a lockdown defender for this Huntingdon squad. Now you figure you hold for one here.
You would figure, but let's see what Bellefonte decides to do here.
And Huntingdon forces a turnover. 2-on-1, Gerhardt sidestepping and laying with the left hand.
That was a great way for Huntingdon to close out the first quarter on a run like that.
Maggs to beat the buzzer. Got it off on time, but a late burst by the Huntingdon Bearcats puts them up by 7 points. 20-13, they lead after one here at Bellefonte High School. Stick with us. You're watching high school basketball on CNET. And welcome back into Bellefonte High School. Red Raiders trailing the visiting Huntingdon Bearcats 20-13 through the first 8 minutes of play. And thus far, it's been the Nick Rigby show.
Yeah, it has Rigby on fire in the first quarter. 11 points for him, and Bellefonte had just not done a good job of stopping him off the drive. He has a great explosive first step, and they haven't cut him off baseline once. He's just been driving baseline. He's been taking what they've been giving him, and he's been getting fouled too on those drives. He had an and one. So if you're Bellefonte, you got to take away baseline when Rigby is there. I mean, you have to take away baseline regardless, but especially with Rigby.
Tough finish through the contact. And Bellefonte trails it by 5. 7:35 to go, clock ticking. As Rigby dumps off for Lane. In the lane. Off the mark. An offensive rebound by the very athletic Jackson Ritchie. Not only dominant in the basketball court, but in the diamonds. A Virginia Tech commit. He'll head to Blacksburg to play his college baseball. This season has scored 35 points in a game, 25 points in a game, and for the year, averages 15.
Yeah, and he was teasing us a little bit in the pregame warm-ups too. Can't touch the rim, but you can definitely see he's got some high-flying abilities.
Yeah, we might see an in-game dunk from him. And the corner triple off the mark from McCartney. Long board. Oh, look at that fast break. And running down the middle is who else but Nick Rigby. 13 points.
Excellent cut by Rigby there. Saw no one had him covered going down the middle.
The tip and follow by Noah Badger prompts a Bellefonte timeout. 24-17, 6:55 to go here in the second quarter. Stick with us. It's high school basketball here on CNET. 24-17 the score in the second quarter, under 7 minutes remaining. Undefeated Huntingdon taking on Bellefonte, 10-4 in the season. It's senior night here for the Red Raiders. Backdoor feed, oh, Lob City. Nick Rigby with 15 points, averages 24 per outing. There's still 6:30 to go in the first half.
And we thought it would be Jackson Ritchie going up for an alley-oop, but Nick Rigby showing you his high-flying ability too. Doesn't yam it, just tosses it in, but he has been giving Bellefonte nothing but trouble tonight. They do not have an answer for him at all.
Tice penetrates, pivots. Caleb Rocky, kick out. Open look for Maggs. And the long rebound to Gerhardt. Let's see, travel or a foul? And a foul was called first. Personal goes against Ben McCartney. Fourth team foul of this first half.
Who else would be making that run right there other than Rigby for Huntingdon? He's just been all over the floor so far in this game, making the runs in transition, perfect cuts, and they've led to easy scores for him.
Jackson Ritchie. We talked about those hops before. He's going up not once, but twice and finishes through the contact. 11-point lead for Huntingdon. This was a game that first half of that first quarter was back and forth. But since then, the Bearcats have established themselves And the free throw rattles out. Second personal foul on Noah Badger. 5th team foul the first half for the Red Raiders. Tice turns it over. Gerhardt into the contact, flips it up and out. McCartney. Strong take, back down to single digits. Fast-paced game so far.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a lot of runs in transition.
Ritchie again battling on the boards. Jackson Ritchie above the defense. He'll head to the line once again.
I was wondering when was he going to get going. It had been the Nick Rigby show, but now Jackson Ritchie starting to get involved for Huntingdon too. He presents a real matchup nightmare for Bellefonte. Well, it's 6'5", and with the length and athleticism he has, I mean, Bellefonte does not have anyone taller than 6'3" on their roster, not anyone that's going to be getting minutes tonight either. So he's going to be a big-time problem for them down in the paint.
Now 1 for 2 from the line tonight. 31-19, 5:20 to go. Clock ticking in the second quarter. It's been all Bearcats since the midway point of the first. But anything's possible on senior night. It's that little added push.
And Bellefonte trying to run an off-ball screen there on that previous play for Nate Tice, get him open from 3. We're going to see Tice shoot one here. No good.
Tips out of bounds, and it'll stay with Bellefonte. And you figure in a game like this, if you're the Red Raiders, you know you're going to have to score. You want to go to your best player, and that's Tice. He can hit those shots.
No, definitely. Shoots 30% from deep, 40% from the field, and they're going to want to get him involved. But it's just not working for them right now. He hasn't been able to get the looks that he wants to. And that's credit to Huntington's great defense, but they will get a 3 there, Bellefonte.
Ben McCartney off the feed from Caleb Rocky, who inside has good court vision. Able to find the open shooters. Down to a 9-point lead for the Bearcats. Kick out. Rigby, yes. 18 in the first half.
Wow. That is one way to start the night. 18 points for Nick Rigby, rather.
12-point lead. No answers. Although no one's had an answer for this man right here. 20 points midway through the second quarter. Nick Rigby. He's getting D3 looks. This man should be getting offers left and right. And Mags went to the free throw line. (36-22). And Rigby called for the personal. Second team foul the first half on Huntingdon.
Well, someone's certainly good, having a good senior night, but except it's not a senior from Bellefonte. Nick Rigby, oh my.
Chad Brindle in.
Just been all over the floor for Huntingdon tonight, making the runs in transition, and has a few three-pointers as well.
Mag splits through 2 defenders midair. 12-point Huntington lead. There's Rigby. Fresh off the bench, Brindle clanks one. And Rigby's there for the offensive rebound. 22 points for Nick Rigby. He has 22 points. Bellefonte as a team with 24. Too strong from Nick Fisher. And they just run the floor so well as Chris Glenn will take a timeout for the Red Raiders. 40-24 Huntington opening things up. 3:10 to go in the second quarter. It's high school basketball here on CNET. 16-point advantage for Huntington here on Bellefonte Senior Night. John Gross alongside David Saggio, and now the Bearcats showing a full court man-to-man press for the first time tonight, and something that Coach Chris Glunt for the Red Raiders emphasized. Said coming into tonight's game compared to their 31-point loss in the first game against Huntingdon, and one. That looked like continuation, but they'll score the bucket for Mags, and he'll head to the line to shoot one.
Yeah, that one looked like it might have been on the floor, and Huntington fans not happy about that one, but they will give Bellefonte the basket.
NBA, that's no question. High school and college, well, they'll count it though, down to a 14-point game. And it stays that way as bodies hit the floor. But Coach Glenn emphasizing the fact that his team needs to improve on taking care of the basketball, getting back on defense against this Huntington team. That's what really caused their issues in their first meeting. Say they scored a majority of their points by turning their defense and Bellefonte's careless mistakes into easy offense. Sound familiar?
It does sound familiar because that is what we're seeing happen tonight. Bellefonte not taking care of the basketball at all, and then it's just been the Nick Rigby show on the open floor. No one's been able to keep pace with him. He has 22 points so far in this game. I mean, Huntington has done an excellent job running the floor with their transition offense, and Bellefonte's transition defense is just nowhere to be found.
Selesky misses the 1-and-1. Bearcats reset. 2:40 remaining in the first half. Jackson Ritchie. Selesky. And Brindle. 14-point lead for the undefeated Huntingdon Bearcats.
And it looks like Jackson Ritchie's got a little bit of a tissue paper in his nose. Might have gotten clocked earlier.
Off the back of the iron, and the rebound underneath. Saved right into the hands of Caleb Rocky. Fisher hesitates. And a foul on the floor. Fourth team foul on Huntington, so still a few fouls to give as Rocky will head to the bench. Replaced by Bailey Decker. And Isaiah Nadolski cuts it down to 12. 40-28. Listen, as well as Huntington has played, Bellefonte by no means out of this thing.
Oh, definitely not. Like you said, anything can happen on senior night. Anything can happen in a basketball game. This could easily, Bellefonte could easily go on a run here in the next quarter or in the fourth quarter, but we have not seen anything that could show that so far.
Mags lost control. And here comes the turnovers into the fast breaks. And one. Andrew Miller.
And I think this plays into what we were talking about earlier as well before the game, is just that athleticism that Huntington has, and I think that's showing here on the open floor, is the fact they can run the floor, they're faster. It looks, Bellefonte's just having trouble keeping pace with them on the open floor. The transition game is huge for Huntington right now, and it's how they've been getting their points, off turnovers from Bellefonte.
Nate Tice back in the floor for the Red Raiders. Well, one area that Huntington has struggled tonight is from the free throw line. They've gotten there a few times. They've only hit once. Shot fake inside. Another bucket for Nadolski. Averages 3.6 a game already with 4, and he gets back to intercept it. Tice pushes. McCartney. Worked around. Triple. 9-point ball game. Bailey Decker.
Big time three from Decker there.
Fisher dives after it. Split second too late. Offensive rebound. There's a held ball. Possession arrow to the Bearcats. Owen Lane.
And Bellefonte looking a little energized now. They look like they were lacking that earlier on in this game, but now they got some pep in their step, got a little hype going. See if they can get a defensive stop here off this inbound.
42-33, 45.7 seconds remaining in the first half. No shot clock in Pennsylvania high school basketball, so the Bearcats can hold for one. Selesky to Brindle. Ball worked back to Selesky. 25 of the clock. Ritchie fires away. Offensive rebound to the weak side. And a foul on the second attempt. Bellefonte struggling in the defensive glass.
That was the excellent right move there to break that zone defense. Waiting for it, waiting for the flash to the top of the key. Pass it in, defense collapses. Easy dump off down low for Huntingdon.
Selesky knocks down the front end of the 1-and-1. A 50% free throw shooter in the season.
Yeah, Huntingdon, you said they've been struggling from free throw tonight, but looking at their numbers, they're not particularly a good free throw shooting team. Numerous players at 50% or just below.
15 seconds to go in this first half. And a foul along the sideline, only the 5th team foul of the first half against the Bearcats. So no bonus just yet for Bellefonte, who trail it by 11, 44-33, first personal in Owen Lane. 11.5 seconds remaining in the second quarter. McCartney. Venturi feet. Working underneath now, Fisher. Rims out as the buzzer expires, and Huntingdon leads Bellefonte 44-33 through the first 16 minutes of action. David, your thoughts in the first half?
Bellefonte has to be better in transition defense. They have to take better care of the ball. That was their crux in that first half of play. They turned the ball over far too many times, and they just let Nick Rigby absolutely destroy them in the transition game with 22 points coming in that first half. The majority from transition layups where he was just untouched because he outruns everybody. That's what they have to nip in the butt. They have to have better ball control, better ball handling, smarter passes, smarter plays, and have to improve the transition defense. That is a must for them.
Now it was the Nick Rigby show in that first half, approaching his season average through just 2 quarters, as his Huntingdon Bearcat side lead the Bellefonte Red Raiders 44-33 after 2 here at Bellefonte High School. It's senior night, so don't go anywhere. This is high school basketball on CNET. 6-9. After the halftime break, a 44-33 lead for the Huntingdon Bearcats. Undefeated, a perfect 18-0 this season, including an 11-0 record in Mountain League play. Looking to start things right out of the gate with Jackson Ritchie, who is bumped by Noah Badger. John Gross here alongside David Saggio. David, halftime adjustments for Bellefonte. What do they need to do to cut into this 11-point deficit?
Well, for starters, they have to get Nate Tice going. We talked about him being their offense, averages 12 points per game for them. Pretty good shooter from downtown as well, shoots 30%. He has to get going for him. We've seen them try to get him involved, some off-ball screens for him, get him open. And credit to Huntingdon. They've done a beautiful job running him off the three-point line. They haven't allowed him to have time to get his feet set, get a good look at the basket. Another thing, too, is they have to stop Huntingdon in the transition game. And, of course, right here, right off the bat, we have Huntingdon shooting 2 free throws off a transition foul. So the transition defense definitely needs to be better for Bellefonte as well. We touched on that at the end of the second quarter. That was the real big thing in this game, was the transition play.
Jackson Ritchie splits a pair. He has 8 points. Nick Rigby, sporting number 35 in the blue, with a game-high 22. A guy who averages an already impressive 24 points, just 2 points away from matching his season average here in the third quarter. Caleb Rocky goes to work as he stumbles, but an offensive rebound. McCartney, who had a team-high 9 points in the first half, first Red Raider in double digits with 11. Back down to 10 points, 45-35, and Nate Tice intercepts an errant feed, swatted by Ritchie.
Oh.
And a bump by Maggs. The athleticism from Jackson Ritchie. Hey, he's one of those multi-sport athletes. We're seeing college coaches on Twitter, on TV, all over the place, really emphasizing they want guys who can play multiple sports. And Jackson Ritchie is one of those stars on the basketball court. He's headed to Virginia Tech to play baseball next year.
Yeah, ACC baseball is no joke either. You have to be one heck of an athlete to do that, and we see his athleticism on display here tonight on the basketball court. I'd be pretty interested to see him on a baseball diamond, though. Not going to lie.
Zaleski catches air as the rebound falls, and a couple outlet feeds to Caleb Rocky, another two-sport athlete who just yesterday committed to play college football at Bloomsburg, just down I-80. 45-37 Huntington. Rebound to Maggs. Just over 6 minutes to go in the third. An 8-point game. Rocky, kick out. Tice lets one fly. He's come so close and a couple of looks as Lane outlets.
Been an uncharacteristic night for Tice tonight. He hasn't been able to hit from deep at all.
And Lane rewarded with that rebound as he finishes inside. 47-37, 5:50 to go in the second half. In the third quarter, excuse me. Tice, baseline. No look feed to Rocky. And he'll shoot two.
You know, actually talk about Owen Lane a little bit. He's only 6'1", but he kind of strikes me as, you know, that tweener forward almost, where he was the kid, you know, he was always bigger than everybody, and now he's at 6'1". But I love that style of play from him. He doesn't play like he's 6'1" at all. He plays like, you know, he's a 7-footer out there posting up guys down low, going up for rebounders. I love that energy and that hustle he brings despite. And, you know, people tell me this all the time, I'm 6'1", you know, oh, you're tall. But in the realm of basketball, 6'1", you're not exactly the tallest person. And I just love that from him, you know, his hustle and his energy.
Yeah, Lane, one of the senior leaders, as Rocky looks to hit the second. Now, Huntington, their last two matchups have been relatively close. Against Williamsport, a 3-point win, and then earlier this week against Central, an 8-point victory. Only time this season that they've had single-digit consecutive victories in a row. As Zaleski left it short. And Tice bounce pass, threads the needle. And McCartney goes up and under. 7-point game, and now a 3-and-1 the other way. McCartney once again. And a timeout taken by Nick Payne. The Red Raiders storming back here on senior night. 47-42, 5:01 to go in the third quarter right here from Bellefonte High School. It's high school basketball on CNET. Red Raiders capitalizing on that halftime break. Now only trailing by 5. It's the complete opposite of what happened the first time these two teams met. It ended up being a 31-point victory for Huntington in that third quarter, 25-11 in favor of the Bearcats.
And that's what, as we see Nick Rigby go up high and catch that lob for his 24th point of the night, getting his average. But no, yeah, we were talking about that. We thought that Huntington would be the ones to come out the gate into the third quarter ready to go, you know, pedal to the floor. But it's been Bellefonte that's come out with that energy.
Maggs, hands in the passing lane. McCartney corner look. Money. 4-point game. Undefeated Huntington on the ropes.
Stop would be huge here for Bellefonte. That would take the roof off this place.
Midway through the third quarter, 49-45. Rigby. A rare miss. And Richie has it stripped away. McCartney swats it from Lane. Caleb Rocky showing off the ball handling skills. Tice thought about it. McCartney's been hot, and he stays that way. 1-point ball game.
Well, someone had to step up for Bellefonte at some point, and Ben McCartney is that guy.
Gerhardt silences the crowd. Back to a 4-point lead, 52-48. Pass intended for Rocky. And he's called for a shove on the ground. A little too active with the hands. Second personal on Rocky, who missed the first meeting between these two squads.
I definitely think he has had an impact on this game for Bellefonte. You know, head coach Chris Glunt did mention he was a big missing piece for them.
Gerhardt, who just hit the last three. Perfect bounce pass to Owen Lane. A little 5-0 run for the Bearcats. Back up by 6, 2:45 to go in the third. McCartney's been on fire. Back-to-back triples. And a whistle on Owen Lane. Well, if you're Bellefonte and Coach Glunt, this is what you hope for on a senior night. Your team not showing any quit against an undefeated Huntingdon team. You're down 11 at the half, and now it's a 6-point game.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm Coach Glunt, I'm really happy with the fight that these guys came out with out of the gate coming into this third quarter. They have not backed down at all.
We'll see if the foul goes on as Caleb Rocky was rocked inside. They'll shoot 2. Selesky charged with the foul. His second. Third team foul on Huntingdon.
It's been a relatively clean game, too. You know, we haven't had a lot of hacking back and forth.
Rocky, 52% free throw shooter of the season. Down to a 5-point game. Andrew Miller checks in. Not the pitcher. Although that would be pretty cool to see Andrew Miller playing some high school basketball.
He would not be the only star baseball player on the floor, as we've previously mentioned.
Very good point. Of course, referring to Jackson Ritchie. Headed to Blacksburg to play college baseball at Virginia Tech. He'll be a Hokie. Back-to-back misses for the first time tonight for Nick Rigby. And he recovers it. There is Ritchie. Hangs in the air just long enough to draw the contact on the arm.
And that hustle there from Nick Rigby, he misses the jumper, immediately runs, crashes the board, gets the steal instead, and then finds the waiting Jackson Ritchie down in the post. And credit to Huntingdon. They've done an excellent job attacking that 2-3 zone that Bellefonte's been throwing at them. Had a little bit trouble in the first quarter, but when they opened things up in transition, and now they're starting to break the zone really good.
First free throw missed by the normally reliable Ritchie at the line. 80% clip in the season. 54-50. Huntingdon leads Bellefonte 0 of 2, and Selesky again on the offensive glass. That's an area that the Bearcats have exploited today. Gerhardt. Selesky works it around. And another miss. This time Bellefonte grabbing the board. Rocky stumbling forward. And he lost control of it. Selesky pushes the tempo. One-handed feed. And Rigby will head to the line. Well, we've seen the last couple of possessions. Will Selesky finding his teammates. And that's nothing new for Selesky. He's a guy who's getting some D3 looks. And Coach Payne has said that Selesky is one of the most unselfish players that he's ever coached. And we're seeing it early on, averages 7 assists per game.
And, you know, every team needs that guy. They need that leader, that unselfish player. I mean, ideally, you would like everybody on your team to be unselfish, you know, all about the team. But everybody needs that guy that's always willing to pass first, always looks for the open man, and he definitely does have good court vision. As you said, 7 assists per game is no joke at the high school level.
25 points for number 35, eclipsing his season average. 55-50, a minute 40 to go. Nate Tice back in.
And Rigby's gone a little bit cold from the field here. He's missed his last 3 jumpers after that beautiful 22-point performance in the first half.
And looks like there's some blood. Not sure if it's on the jersey or the hand of Nick Rigby. who has 25 points, and he'll head back to the line.
I mean, if you're going to be wearing number 35, you got to at least score. And boy, does he score 24 points per game, now at 25. He's having himself a night tonight, Nick Rigby.
55-50, we have a good one here inside Bellefonte High School. 1:40 to go in the third. This is high school basketball on CNET. 55-50, 5-point edge for the visitors. Rigby bounces home point number 26, a guy who averages 24 per outing. Still a minute 30 to go in the third quarter. 6-point edge. And Fisher flips it up from his weak side. Too strong. Open look, Miller. 8-point advantage for the 18-0 Huntingdon Bearcats. McCartney looks to go to work and was hit from behind.
A little bit of chatter there between McCartney and Jackson Ritchie. I like it, though. I like the energy. I like it when there's a little bit of chatter going on. I think it adds an element to the game.
Yeah, I think because Ritchie got the block and McCartney's saying, I was pushed into you. That's fair. It's a foul.
That's a valid point.
Listen, I'd say the exact same thing. Meyer in for Bellefonte. Owen Lane for Huntingdon.
McCartney only a 56% free throw shooter, but he does make both.
Yeah, what a second half he's had thus far. A couple of triples.
He has been instrumental to Bellefonte's comeback here in this second half.
And he's on boards as well.
Yeah, had a rebound to that stat.
Under a minute to go. 6-point game. Huntingdon leads 58-52. And the strip. Rigby, 2-on-1. And the bucket. Let's see if they call it. No, they'll call it on the floor.
And we saw that earlier on in the first half. Bellefonte, I think it was, I want to say it was Joey Maggs had that where it should have been on, where they wanted it to be on the floor, but they gave him the N1, and now Huntingdon not getting that same courtesy.
.2 to go in the third. It's 58-52. Huntingdon leading. Left wing triple. Chad Brindle. 9-point advantage for Huntingdon. Rocky sees a lane.
Good defense there by Owen Lane. Nearly had the strip.
.13 seconds in the third quarter. Miller with 9, trying to find the cutting Rigby. Right idea.
Just a little bit too much heat on that pass.
61-52, 7.5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Bellefonte looking for a little bit of momentum to head into the final frame.
Yeah, a shot here would be nice for them. If they got a basket here, it would give them a lot of energy going into the fourth quarter.
Tice with 2. And his shot is swatted by Nick Rigby. Getting it done on both sides of the floor. 61-52. We'll get you started with the final quarter of play here from Bellefonte High School. This is high school basketball on CNET. Heading into the fourth quarter, 61-52. The 18-0 Huntingdon Bearcats lead the Bellefonte Red Raiders here from Bellefonte High School. John Gross alongside David Saggio. This is a position that the Bearcats haven't been in too frequently this season. A close game. For the first time this season, their last 2 games in a row, decided by less than 10 points. Of course, they've won every game they've played this season. And it's interesting to note what went down a couple games ago against Williamsport in a 3-point win for Huntingdon. They're content to run the clock. Coach Payne was a little bit frustrated, started yelling during a timeout. And Owen Lane, a senior on the team, told Coach Payne, stop yelling. It's not going to help us at all. And Coach Payne said, you know what, you're exactly right, and they ended up winning from there. So they have some recent experience in close games.
You know, John, I'm a fan of the whole Bill Belichick perspective. I'd rather win a close one than win in blowout fashion. I think that just gives you a lot more experience. You know, it gives you a better edge almost instead of blowing everyone out of the water. I think having those close games is it's really good for a team, especially when you get into the postseason.
Coach Payne emphasizing that he knows his guys have the ability to come out of those adverse situations with a win. They just haven't had many chances to showcase that, but here's one today, a 9-point lead under 7 minutes remaining. Again, no shot clock, so they can take as much time as they want, and they are. Gerhardt, step back. And a long rebound to Maggs. Tice, plenty of breathing room.
Just
Bounces out.
not Tice's night tonight at all.
Normally the leading scorer on this Bellefonte roster. And now an 11-point advantage for Huntingdon. Figure the first few minutes of this fourth quarter can kind of decide things. Rocky off the pick and roll. And the basket waved off.
Yeah, these last few minutes, or these early minutes rather, can definitely plot out the rest of this fourth quarter. Whether or not Bellefonte can start to chew into this lead or if Huntingdon will maintain it.
Tice flips it up.
Nothing will go for Tice tonight. Very uncharacteristic play from him.
Selesky, the runner down the lane. And instantly, Chris Glunt will take a timeout. A nice run out of the gate, 4 points to be exact. 5:49 to go, and it's 65-52. Huntingdon trying to move to 19-0 in the season here at Bellefonte High School. 13-point advantage for Huntingdon over the Bellefonte Red Raiders. 5:49 to go. Tice struggling a little bit from the field, leading scorer on this Bellefonte team throughout this season. But Coach Glunt makes it clear that his team, they are a balanced scoring team. Last 5 games, they have 5 guys averaging at least 5 points, including 3 in double digits. So that can be helpful in a game like this. We've seen a guy like Ben McCartney step up.
Yeah, definitely. McCartney has been that guy who's had to step up for Bellefonte because of Nate Tice's just not good shooting night. And now we're going to see Huntingdon start to really pull away here. Bellefonte's going to need to go on a run now. If they want to get back in this, they got to start making these shots. They got to get something from deep.
Trail by 15. Rocky. Tice. And the long rebound to Ritchie. And a block is called right at midcourt on Caleb Rocky. At 18-0 and 11-0 in conference. Huntingdon, of course, at the top of the Mountain League standings. Bellefonte, a few games back. Right now they're tied for second. They have 6 games to go. They're tied with Central for second. They played Central earlier this season, lost by 3, 41-38. They end the season against Central as well. So if those two teams keep on playing the way they have been, they're on a collision course for a game that'll decide second place in the Mountain League, final game of the regular season.
And that will be a huge matchup, you know, as you said, if they do continue on the course they are on right now. Some people might not think it doesn't mean a lot, but you know, those conference standings, they mean a lot to the players, and to have a big game like that would definitely be quite the way to end the regular season.
4:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Fisher takes it out to McCartney. Bellefonte trails by 16. Rocky in the low post. Into the contact, count the bucket. It's a block on Ritchie.
And Huntingdon fans are not having that. Players are laughing it off, though. They're having fun out there.
That's what you want to see. 68-54. 4:40 to go, and Caleb Rocky sinks the free throw. 13-point game, 4:30 remaining. Bellefonte not out of things. Huntingdon looking to close them out. Rigby. As Fisher tried to pick his pocket. Well, too much. 8th team foul. So Rigby will head to the line for a 1-and-1. Has 26 points. It's a game high 26. Bounces it home.
Make that 27 now.
The senior leaders on this team are, as Coach Payne says, he's been our leader from the beginning. 70-55, 4:27 remaining. Huntingdon 18-0, Bellefonte 10-4. Red Raiders riding a 4-game win streak, have not lost since their previous matchup against the Bearcats. Maggs finds the rolling Noah Badger.
Good job by Badger there on that cut. An excellent pass by Maggs. Good choice with the bounce pass, getting it past the defenders.
And Rigby swatted inside, but it'll stay with Huntingdon. These players have tasted success last year. 2 wins in the PIAA playoffs. Score the bucket. Jackson Ritchie.
And Jackson Ritchie using all of his 6'5" frame there. And he has just been an absolute nightmare down low for Bellefonte. They have not had an answer for him at all.
$15-point advantage for the Bearcats. Past the midway point of the 4th. McCartney attacking. And we'll see if it was on the shot as McCartney walks over to the free throw line. 7th team foul on Huntingdon, so it'll be 1-and-1 either way.
And the pace is really slowing down now in this game. You know, stark contrast to the first half where it was a lot of running back and forth in transition. Things really slowing down here.
Foul was called to the shot, so 2 shots from McCartney since the first. 72-58, 3:53 remaining in the 4th. Senior night for Bellefonte, and the putback, no, but Badger's there for the board. Rocky. Bellefonte not going away just yet. They trail it by 12, and Caleb Rocky starting to come alive in the second half.
He was dearly missed in that first matchup, and now here he is down the stretch making a big-time play and one shot at the line.
Long board to McCartney. 10-point game. 3:40 remaining. Bellefonte brings out the trap. Unselfish feed, Owen Lane. Counters. Back up by 12 are the Bearcats.
And there's that senior leadership that Nick Payne talked about, undaunted at the fact that they just gave up 2 straight. Owen Lane driving the lane, gets the N1. And, you know, that's the type of players that can really build a team and, you know, make them build a program, first of all, because, you know, having that leadership and those kind of players to, you know, pass that on to the future, but then that as well in the postseason, having all this senior leadership and experience, you know, Huntingdon is going to be a very scary team.
I mentioned the postseason. Bearcats seemingly on their way to a postseason opportunity once again. Will Selesky falls short with the lay-in, but Rigby's there to clean it up. It's obviously, as especially a high school athlete, not always easy to stay focused throughout the season. They've won a lot of these games in lopsided fashion. Coach Payne says, listen, there are times that these guys sometimes during practice might get a little bit silly, but they've tasted that success. They know what it takes to get to that upper echelon as McCartney knocks down a jumper and Bellefonte take the timeout. We'll keep it right here. They know that if they don't continue to improve as the season goes, they may fall short of their goals. So, and at least in my mind, some of that comes from playing in closer games, because when you get to playing against that top level of competition, they're not going to be 20, 40 point margin of victories.
No, and that's exactly what I was alluding to earlier on in this half when I was talking about the, whole Bill Belichick perspective. You don't want to blow everyone out of the water every game, because what are you learning from that? You're learning that you can beat up on lesser and weaker competition. You want to have those close games. You want to play good competition. I mean, a prime example of that is you can see it in collegiate sports. Let's say why Duke plays in all these tournament games every year, why they open the season against Kentucky. You want to play that top-tier talent. You want to play that top-tier competition, And even having a loss sometimes, although Huntingdon is defeated on the season, even having a loss sometimes during the season can be humbling as well. It's all learning experience throughout these seasons, especially as a high school athlete. That's really where you learn the game and you learn how to play.
Huntingdon 18-0 in the season. They're 11-0 in conference. They lead by 13 against the Bellefonte Red Raiders under 3 minutes remaining. Gerhardt. Selesky the extra pass.
Excellent job breaking the press there by Huntingdon.
Gerhardt shovels it in. And 2 shots in the way for Owen Lane.
And this one's slowly turning into a bit of a foul fest here as we have 18 combined fouls for both teams.
Yeah, 13, I believe, in that first half. 13 total fouls. First half that only took about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was
to run through.
Very short first half. I think that comes in part just, it was a very, very quick-paced transition game in that first half.
Almost like a track meet out there in the first half. And Lane gets a shooter's bounce. As we talked about before, Lane, a leader on this team, he's not afraid to speak up. As Coach Payne pointed out against Williamsport, that close game that we talked about before, Coach Payne was yelling during that timeout. And Owen Lane said, Coach, relax. Yelling's not going to do much. Takes a lot, I think, for a high school player to kind of show that maturity.
Yeah, I love that from Owen Lane, honestly. Knowing that he can almost step in and say, hey, Coach, relax. It's okay. We got this. He's mature enough where he realizes I can say something. I can have a voice, but, keep it respectful. Keep it in the right fashion. Don't yell back with Coach. Instead, just, say calmly to Coach, hey, we got this. We don't have to yell.
2:33 to go as Rocky comes out. And Isaiah Nadolski back in. McCartney strokes the second one through as well. 79-66. Pressure extended. Mags almost got there. Gerhardt takes it in, gets off the backboard. 81-66, a high-scoring affair. Only the 3rd time this season that Huntingdon has allowed more than 60 points in a game.
I mean, credit to Bellefonte. They've had their struggles, but they have been able to put the ball in the basket, though Huntingdon has put the clamps down a little bit here in this 4th quarter.
Under 2 minutes, no shot clock. 15-point lead for Huntingdon. Pass deflected initially. Gerhardt spins out of it. Oh, they are so good passing inside. And Ritchie's been to the receiving end of a whole lot of them.
Yeah, he has had a monster game down low in the post. Offensive rebounds. As we see Mags gets the layup there for Bellefonte, but offensive rebounds, putbacks, and he's had plenty of free throw opportunities as well. Converted those.
83-68. McCartney tees one up. Oh, he is on fire in this second half. As much as we've talked about Rigby, 32 points for McCartney. McCartney at 6'2", a senior guard, averages about 10 points a game, but he has really good form, gets good rotation behind it, and has shown today that he can score the basketball when his team needs him to step up.
Yeah, no, definitely. That stroke that he has on your jumper, you mentioned that good form. He really does have good form and technique on his jump shot, and you see there the smooth finish off the spin move there. He is having himself a game tonight despite the deficit that his team has.
Wheeling through the lane to make it a 10-point game. 35 for Ben McCartney. 2 30-point scorers in a game. The high school level, you don't see that too often.
Definitely not.
83-73. 2 shots as the first is true for Nick Rigby, who has 33. 49.2 seconds to go. Huntingdon on their way to victory number 19. They have 3 games left after this. Tice off the mark, offensive board of the weak side. McCartney doing it all. Offensive board, he'll head to the line to shoot 2. Has 35 already. Chance for a couple more.
And we were thinking Nick Rigby was going to be the leading scorer at the end of this one. We still do have 41 seconds left, but Ben McCartney, what a game he's had.
Now with 27 points in the second half. Had 9 at halftime, 36 for the game, pending this free throw for number 37.
And he's had a really good night at the line, too. He's only a 56% shooter normally from the free throw line, but he's done a tremendous job there as well, as Huntington's just going to look to run this one out, barring any more fouls or turnovers.
And McCartney stepped out of bounds. So it'll stay with Huntingdon. 30.4 to go, 85-75. The visitors on top of the Bellefonte Red Raiders. Again, only the 3rd time that a team has scored 60 or more points against Huntingdon this season. So you have to give a ton of credit to Bellefonte, a team who lost to Huntingdon earlier this season by 31. This time they get him on senior night. McCartney's been the hot hand this second half. And Rigby and his Huntingdon teammates can hold to end it. Gerhardt pulls it out.
Yeah, Chris Glunt yelling for no foul. Big time block there for Ben McCartney, dude. You're going to score, might as well play a little defense down low too, swatting the shot, but there it is.
85-75. The Huntingdon Bearcats move to a perfect 19-0 in the season, up to 12-0 in conference play. The 10-point win over the now 10-5 Bellefonte Red Raiders, who fall to 6-4 in league play. Snapping a 4-game Red Raider winning streak, a couple 30-plus point performances. 37 for Ben McCartney, 34 for Nick Rigby. And 2 teams who at times in this game were very competitive. At other points, Huntingdon clearly looked like the better group, but David, you have to give a ton of credit to this Bellefonte squad.
Oh, definitely. To come back after being defeated 83-52 in their first matchup, to come back and to have it only be a 10-point game, 85-75, to put up 75 points, as you mentioned, on a team that does not allow teams to score on them that much. A team that's very good defensively. I think that you have to get a ton of credit to Bellefonte. They're a good squad. They have a lot of experienced players. We can see that now. Ben McCartney can clearly be someone to be relied on down the stretch, having himself a huge game here for Bellefonte, but it's just one of those nights where that one guy has the huge game, but the rest of everything else just isn't clicking.
Bearcats advancing to 19-0 behind another 30-plus point performance by Mr. Nick Rigby. Averages 24 per game, had 22 in the first half alone. What a special player he is to lead this 19-0 Huntington squad, but he also got a lot of help from his teammates today.
Oh, definitely. And I think the big thing for Nick Rigby is he's just so explosive with that first step and in transition. You know, start the game, we saw him on the baseline, just boom, one move, one step, easy drive to the rack. And then we saw him in the transition game too, just outpacing everyone. You know, he's a heck of an athlete. I can see why he's getting that D3 interest now. That, and he does have the jump shot to go along with the package.
Final score 85-75 here at Bellefonte High School. The Huntington Bearcats advance to 19-0 the season as Bellefonte drops to 10-5. For our producer with us, Matt Burns, my broadcast partner, David Saggio. Signing off here from Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. My name is John Gross. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Underwriting support for this program provided by the Center County Gazette. We cover what's important to you.
Clearwater Conservancy has been conserving and restoring the natural resources of central Pennsylvania since 1980. As a nationally accredited land trust, the organization is dedicated to nurturing a healthy environment and thriving communities through land conservation, water resources stewardship, and environmental outreach. Clearwater Conservancy's staff, board, volunteers, community partners, and donors contribute year-round to make a long-lasting positive impact on our community. Whether you're hiking the Musser Gap Greenway, admiring the Meyer Dairy Farmscape in State College, birding in the Barrens to Bald Eagle Wildlife Corridor, or meandering along the stream banks of Spring Creek during a Centered Outdoors summer adventure, there are many ways to access the benefits of Clearwater Conservancy's future-focused, science-based, and community-minded work. Engage with us at clearwaterconservancy.org or by calling 814-237-0400.
Center Region Parks and Recreation manages 56 municipal and regional parks. These beautiful parks offer amenities such as sports fields, rentable picnic pavilions, playgrounds, bike and walking trails, and recreation facilities. Take some time to find your park and spend some time outdoors. Visit crpr.org for a list of park locations and amenities.